that dirt's not going to help him as we got Espez, who has been saving fuel. Does he have enough to finish this lap going all out? Taking a look down the inside as he gets covered up. Oh, we're going to go 3 wide into the hairpin.
3 wide. Hawkin makes it stick on the right side. Better run for Williams on the left. Espez chooses the left as well. Hawkin now stuck side by side as Espez goes for a 3 wide move. Heading towards Cunningham. Espez bullies his way back up to the point. Williams with the preferred line. Hawkin makes it 3 wide again. Hawkin and Williams late break. Side by side still.
Colin's got one of the best runs we've seen from him yet, and this could be the overtake he's been looking for. He pulls up on him, staying to the inside. Partanen stays down low as they come towards the braking into 1 and 2. A little bit of a back off from Tolinen, even though he's good on the binders. Oh, but he shakes him off the racing line and pulls the over-under, and he gets past Partanen.
Gonna poke his nose to the inside, going down into turn 10. That sweeping right-hander. Oh, contact! Newhook gets the worst of it.
He tries to woe it up. Can he? He does keep it on course, amazingly. I thought he was going to have to cut the chicane, but now look at all of them swamping side to side as there's a little bit of a brush into the right front fender of Newhook's car. Now a little bit of banging between himself and Cowgill, trying to hold on to it. They are getting rough out there. We still have 28 minutes to go.
Joe, that was almost 4 wide coming down into turn 1. I don't know if I've ever seen that much aggression here out of these MX-5s.
Under braking, who is the bravest here? More lap traffic in front of him. It looks like Reynolds goes a little bit deeper, but is it too deep? No, he gets ahead. Thomas O'Leary cannot hold him back. Blake Reynolds is back up to the point, fighting back now. It's going to come down through the stadium section and the inside with Thomas O'Leary. The shorter line and a spin from Blake Reynolds gives it up. Get one more good shot here, but passing into Rent. I don't know about that. Side by side in the last corners will be sketchy. Lap traffic staying out of the way. Hammer defends to the inside. Burns around the long way. And he's going to have to take to the runoff because there's a little bit of nudge between them. Comes back to the racetrack, but he's behind as Hammer exits the final corner. Hammer is going to take the win here at Austria. Topi Kortiniemi has become the newest champion here on Saturdays. And while he can take the remaining rounds to relax and celebrate, others are locked in an intense battle for best of the rest. Phillip Island plays host to the penultimate race of the season as we get ready to watch round 11 of the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legend Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and hopefully I'll be joined by Samuel Ryman a little bit later, as behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. This Australian circuit rarely fails to excite no matter what style of car takes the pavement. Let's head to our track guide to find out why. Welcome to Phillip Island. As the name implies, this track is located on a splotch of land off the south coast of Australia near Melbourne. While there's been plenty of racing here for close to a century, the track's current incarnation has only been around since the late 80s. And this version is a doozy. With only 12 turns spread across the roughly 4.5 kilometers, it's a decently fast circuit. But what really makes this place stand apart is the incredible variety in those few corners. From negative to positive camber, early apexes, late apexes, blind crest, hairpins, sweepers, if you name it, it's probably got it. On top of that, the front stretch tends to offer up a slipstream with its incredible length, but it then forces the drivers into a game of chicken by chucking them into the frightening Buin. Corners like Lukey Heights stretches a car's grip to the limit and then shocks you with a sudden downhill braking into MG. Retaining something of an old-school twist, unlike most modern courses, Phillip Island has earthen embankments running along many parts of the track. While it's meant to keep the cars safely retained within the circuit's confines, anyone unfortunate enough to manage to jump them will be faced with a ton of damage for their troubles. A variety of types of racing take place at the track, including motorcycles, lower-level open-wheelers, and touring cars. Possibly the most well-known among those is the Australian Supercars Championship. With the Aussie reputation of having dangerous, difficult, and challenging circuits, Phillip Island certainly holds up to the standard. The beautiful views of the beach and the ocean may lure some of the fans in, but there's no doubt that the incredible racing at this unique track keeps them around. There you see a little bit about this circuit, but for these Lotus 49s, it will be a real challenge. It's known for its variety in corners, and those 12 turns give you just about everything that it could possibly throw at you. But there's some very fast sweepers, and in this car without much downforce, obviously that can be a real challenge. Doohan and Stoner suddenly become extremely scary in this car. And of course, the difficult braking that they offer going into places like Honda and the curve through Lukey Heights down into MG just give you that much more of a challenge. And this just over 2.5 mile circuit should certainly give us some fun to watch. We'll see how it produces in the penultimate rounds as we take a look at the championship points now. And up at the top of them, as we mentioned, Topi Kortaniemi has clinched it because of his drop weeks. Even though he is within 100 points to Togo Hisada, he cannot be caught because he has scored enough in his drop weeks that he is saved, even if he is a no-show day. Ove Trangrade, however, look at that, 4 points between himself and Hisada. Those two have been in such a tight fight all season long. It'll be fascinating to see how that one shakes out. And we do have both of them here today to try and see if one can find an advantage in the final round. And then it's a little bit of a distance back to the final two with Bill Tyler and John Olsen, been consistently kind of racking up points, but have not really been competitive compared to the others. As we take a look at the Formula 2 points, it is David Rossi who is still up at the top. Now, this one is still possible to see go to the end, but it is a long, long shot for Nolan Smith, and he has to outscore Rossi here today with Robin Brumer and Jorge Nieve also potentially being in it if they outscore David Rossi. They'll have to keep a close eye on that as things carry on. More likely it'll be a battle between those three for second place, and Michael Grissinger rounds out the top five. As for the Nations Cup, it looks pretty similar to how it was for much of the season. It is still open, though. Finland over Norway, with the United States a bit of a distant third, still potentially in it, and definitely have to see Ove try and do something to outscore Finland here today, with Topi Kortaniemi taking the brunt of those points. And then the United Kingdom and Japan rounding out those top four. And of course, for today's race details, we have a bit of a shorter one compared to what we saw last week. 26 laps back at Long Beach, only 23 out here today at Phillip Island, as it does take a bit to get around here, even with the speed of these cars. And I'm joined by Sam Ryman, who will be helping me call the action here today. And Sam, they're just starting out on the qualifying. And in this middle of the afternoon race, we see a little bit of heat, but thankfully not too much. And I don't think they want to slip and slide around any more than they have to in these old machines. As Sam seems to be a little bit microphone shy here this morning. So right now we are watching the number 2 continue on his way around. That's John Olsen we're seeing getting ready to set a lap, and as he crosses the line, his first one is not going to be set yet, as it looks like that was a opening lap for him. There it goes. Now he is up on the board, and that's going to put him into third. Or, excuse me, no, that's a provisional pole for him.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right. Not sure. Now I'm wondering if my mic working has kicked Joe out. Do we have a copy here, Joe?
Yes, we do. And Sam, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we are. Well, we brought all of our stuff down to Australia, and finally it seems to be working. But yeah, Joe, this is always a fun circuit. Of course, a great flow around here. And Topi Kortenemi, I might be having a little bit of difficulties here, but Topi seems to be leaving off right where we're used to seeing him at the top of timing sheets. Yeah, you're talking about those cooler temperatures. Of course, it's summertime right down here in Australia now, so they shouldn't have to be dealing with this. But here we go. That's what we've been dealt with, and seeing which of these drivers are going to end up on top here.
Indeed, Kortenemi with the provisional pole. Hisada right now about half a second behind him as Topi comes down to the line. Let's see what this second lap does at 29.5, another 10th away from everybody. Looks like he is going to be the man to beat once again. He is not content to sit on those 3 wins and wants to try and extend that points lead. We've got a fairly healthy field out here today, but Ove Trangerade is yet to set a lap. Now, this looks like Hisada we've got on the screen right now in that number 5. As he comes up to Lukey Heights. This is a big distance to try to make up. It is a minute 30 to get around here, but a half a second, Sam, is quite a gap.
Yeah, it is, and there's a couple of turns especially out here, especially as you mentioned, Lukey Heights that Hisada is going through right now, where if you just get that run the slightest bit, it can cost you several tenths. Obviously, you're pretty much, well, in most cars, you're pretty much wide open after Lukey Heights. In this Lotus 49, you've got to do a little bit of lifting through those last couple of turns, but let's see. Well, we gained 1/10, but that's not half a second.
No, that is not going to put him close enough. Makes me wonder what Ove Trangerade is going to do. And I think he managed to put one in. And yes, he did. It's good enough for 3rd position. Still nobody able to touch the fin as down into MG. We're watching. Oh, and across the line. This is... trying to make out who this is we're watching. This is Murakami. Oh, Colin, excuse me, who is coming through. That looks like that is everybody across the line, which means our grid is set. So let's go through our starting order. Topi Kortenemi is on the pole today. It is Togo Hisada who will start from 2nd place. Ove Trangerade with P3. Sebastian Tixier is 4th with Bill Tyler in 5th place. Xavier Sanchez with a nice run into 6th. He'll be followed by John Olsen in 7th, Miro Hraski in 8th, and David Prela in the 9th place. David Rossi vying for that F2 championship will start from 10th today.
Yeah, another nice, solid qualifying there by David Rossi. Jeanne Lyman will be starting from 11th position ahead of Jorge Nieva. Robert Plumley has got good qualifying in 13th place ahead of Lars Stelson. Nolan Smith, once again, running in some kind of series, I suppose, that just keeps knocking his I-rating down, I don't know. But there he is in the number 32 car, 15th on the grid, ahead of Maiko Michaela. Jari Wickstrom will be starting 17th ahead of Chris Murakami. What you doing down there, Chris? He'll be starting 18th ahead of Matthew Maudsley and Hideki Kavisto.
21st goes to Randy Huff with Jeff Saunders in 22nd. You've got Michael Grissinger in P23. Genio Massa will start from 24th today. Conover, good enough for 25th. Lampus in 26th. And then Andrew Ang starting 27th today. Last 2 to set a time. Drew Smith in 28th. Matt Wasco will be in 29th. And it's Kalen Brumer and Bruno rounding out the field. This is bad news for Robin Brumer, who is trying to play catch-up on that F2 championship. And the last of them are starting to grid up. We're waiting for just the last dozen or so to put themselves on the grid today. Second to last round of the season. Drivers have been adapting to these new tires, and so far, I think we're starting to see most everybody get used to how they work. here today. And I'm excited to see what sort of race we get at this classic track here down in Australia. Just a couple more to go. They've got about a minute left to line up, Sam. And man, this actually looks like a pretty full field with 31 now that we see them all together.
Yeah, well, we do have a long run down to the first corner, which isn't too difficult. One thing these drivers will have to be concerned with, especially those starting on the left side of the grid, the right side of your screen, is overshooting turn 1 and running wide. The real tricky part is turn 2. For some reason, there always seem to be spinners there, no matter what car you run.
Looks like that is about everybody. Wasco and Brewer are not out there. No, they are now. So the lights come up. The engines start to rev, and the green flag is out. It is not a good start for 5th place as Bill Tyler plunges backwards, but Cortiniemi is strong off the line. So is Ove Trangrade as he starts to get side by side with Hisada, but he drops back into 3rd as they go single file into Dewan. And so far, so good that I'm seeing through the field, nobody off.
Mega start by John Olsen from 7th on the grid. He went straight up a whole row and is leaving turn number 2 in 5th place. The leaders at least have got through that cleanly. Now, of course, we mentioned how those turns could be tricky. Now, what about this? The hairpin. Things can accordion together here, especially in the middle of the field. They're already going 3 wide.
Yeah, see Bill Tyler still in a fight. I think that's Prela who's making a move on him as they come out of Honda into Siberia. Prela around the outside. Can he complete the move? Yes, he can. Another fight here as Sanchez now is alongside Tyler, but Tyler rebuffs him and will retain 7th.
Another good move early on here has been David Prela, starting 9th in the number 9, already up to 6th position. Now they're working their way through Lukey Heights. So far, a great start by all 32 of these drivers. I'll be wanting to keep an eye out on Robin Brummer from the back of the field. It looks like they're getting through this part of the course okay too. And now they're coming out to the finish line. Again, in a lot of cars, you can hold it wide open and relax here. Can't exactly do that in these machines.
Oh, it is scary coming out of that turn as they fly on to the Gardner Straight. It is Cortiniemi leading Hisada, leading Trangrade. Tixier still in 4th as Olsen finds himself up in P5 from his 7th place starting position. Watching the 14 down into Dewan mid-pack. Whoa, as we got a car off. That is David Rossi. Oh, championship implications for the F2 cars. He's going to get back on course. It looks like he's managed to save it. Thankfully, it's so easy to just swing way off to the side there.
Yeah, so that's obviously cost him several positions. Look at that, down to 19th on the left-hand side scoring column there. Robin Brummer was a no-show, though, it looks like, so he's not going to have to worry about that. He is going to have to worry about this traffic is around, though, right in the middle of a hornet's nest here.
And this is great news for Nolan Smith. He is now on the attack with David Rossi. He's caught right up to him. Qualified today in the 15th spot, so much farther down. But this has been a boon to his hopes to keeping this championship alive in Formula 2.
Yeah, hasn't been the greatest opening lap, though, by Nolan Smith. He started 15th, he's down to 19th. You may be saying, hey, Samuel, he's got the number 32. That's still a good race, but the reality is the last few races we've seen whenever Nolan has qualified up front, he's been able to... Oh, boy, that was close. He's been able to hold on to those positions.
Clearly struggling just a little bit out there today and swinging wide to the outside. Rossi a little bit slow down the short chute into Swan. Smith gets by, but is the slipstream going to give this one right back? It is a long front stretch, already up to 160 miles an hour as they punch through the air, but no, David Rossi cannot respond.
Yeah, you've been talking about that slipstream and, there we go, one car off. Is that Rossi again?
That is Smith. No, Smith, unfortunately, finds himself falling victim to the same problem, but he's not going to be able to get on as easily as he drifts back to the track, but he falls all the way down to 25th, and Rossi goes wide as both of them have problems this time. Rossi to the outside of the southern loop.
Well, if anyone's been following along all season, these are two high-class quality drivers. This is an F2 championship, not an F3 championship or anything going on here. They're just struggling a little bit today. The reason it took me a while to recognise Nolan Smith had gone off there was I was looking at the lap time of Topi Kortenemi last time around, and our eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed he set the fastest lap of a race. And you can see, talking about that slipstream down the front straight, Topi's not having to worry about that right now. Over a 1 second lead, I think Hisada and Trantre are busy worrying about second place, and the leader's looking pretty safe in Topi's hands right now.
Yeah, remember, it is a 4-point difference coming into today's race, and they take a 5-point difference between first and second, and another 5-point difference between second and third. So if they finish with Trangrade ahead of Hisada, that will put him into second in the points as they come through the southern loop. Trangrade still chasing on Hisada, though. Kind of ironic that it was Ove who used to run that Honda livery on this machine, but now I guess more appropriate with Togo hailing from Japan, donning that paint scheme now.
Yeah, maybe that's his subliminal way of saying, hey, I'm the one in control here, you know, kind of literally stealing his thunder. As they run single file, it looks like able to keep up with Kortenemi. Kortenemi again set the fastest lap of a race last lap around, but it was only a couple of tenths faster than that of Hisada and Trantre. And I wonder if these two still have thoughts and ambitions of taking the win of this race, but they would have to work together to do that. And maybe what they could do, Joe, is try and leapfrog each other. Oh, wow, that's not going to help them. Hisada completely missed the apex there.
He went very wide down through MG, but unfortunately around the outside of turn 12, didn't quite work out, 11 rather, for Trangrade, as he lost a little bit of grip. But now look at the launch coming off of Swan. He looked a little bit better mid-corner, and he's starting to reel him in. Does he dare go side by side into doing? We've already seen 2 cars go off. He thinks about it, and then he backs out. He's given space at the apex by Hisada, but the Japanese driver will not give up second yet.
And all that's actually allowed Tixier to run them down. Feel like we haven't seen a lot of Tixier recently, and I don't think it's because he's been no-shows, but I think he's been involved in a lot of early incidents in recent races. So nice to see him having a good one this time around.
Ooh, defensive move this time by Hisada down into Honda. No change for position, but yeah, I'd say that Sebastian is showing himself well here in this race. Still a long ways to go as we're only 5 laps into this 23 circuit event. Look at off of Siberia. Trangrade really starting to threaten, less than a car length back.
Let's give a shout out to the entire field right now. We really haven't seen, knocking on wood, and oh there we go. Yeah,
just
as soon as I say it.
That's Nieva. I see Wickstrom and Lehman off the course in Siberia, and this starts with an incident between the 14 and the 22.
Well, they still rejoined in the main pack. What I was going to say is the top 30 cars are covered by about 30 seconds, and they're still in the main pack, so I think that's still true. So I haven't jinxed anyone yet.
Going to take a look at the replay to see how this works out. Oh, just tangled wheels. These are obviously open wheelers, and they do not like to make side-to-side contact, unfortunately.
Let's stay with this replay and go to Andrew Eng.
Oh, and also Ove Trangrade, who had an attempt at Hisada side by side. This is Ang, and he's going to get going and try.
Yeah, it happens at the bottom of Lukey Heights here. So we just saw actually from that part of a replay. I didn't catch that, but he gained a couple of positions. He's about to lose all that hard work at the bottom of a hill.
Up and over the crest. Let's see. Yeah, outbrakes himself and swings it around. Oh, and everybody has to scatter. Unfortunately, 2 incidents in a row for a couple drivers.
I think that's Yari Wickstrom we have on camera there.
Yeah, and he was involved in that incident. The pass was not made between Trangrade and Hisada, but they remain incredibly close.
Oh, big moment for Hisada. He just had a big wiggle at the bottom of a hill, and Trangrade's going to try and go around the outside.
He's got the grip right now, but he's going to have to go the long way around through Swan and nose ahead. He does not cut down. A little bit of squirming on the throttle from Togo Hisada. He keeps in it. He gets a little bit of that overlap as Ove Trangrade still has the inside now coming up to Swan. Tixier backing out of it, unsure which way to go as the two of them try to sort it out, and it looks like Trangrade's going to take it. Tixier can't follow him through, so down to third place for Hisada.
Oh, with a double wide there, I was wondering if Tixier was going to get a massive run and try and pass them both, but it's only lap 7, so I can kind of understand why he didn't. But now look at them all, 5 seconds back of Topi Kortenemi. This is a race for second at this moment.
Yeah, this is allowing Topi to really skitter away and try and take a 4th win of the season after he's already clinched the championship. So these drivers unconcerned with trying to deal with him. It is all about each other. I have to check to see where Tixier is in the points. He sits in 6th coming into this one. So he was just off of our scoring sheet, and it looks like he could potentially catch up to John Olsen before the season is out, but it is a very distant chance as that's the 29 off the circuit. And that is Randy Huff.
Yeah, and he had been running in 16th place. He started 21st, so his first 6 laps were good. Why is Bill Tyler's name dropping down the order? He had been running in 7th.
I think he had an internet issue.
But they still dropped a few places.
Wonder if he just eased up on the throttle, allowing people through when he couldn't see them potentially. If he did, that's very good sportsmanship on his part, but his positioning suffered because of that. Meanwhile, let's go back to that battle for second because Hisada was looking on Trangrade, could not make the pass. He wants that spot back, knowing that he could give up P2 in the championship if he finishes here.
Yeah, second, third, and fourth, all nose to tail into the hard braking zone for the hairpin here. But they're all well enough drivers that they don't rear-end each other, at least not this lap. We've still got 15 more times of tackling these corners, so who knows. Ove Trangrade, surprisingly, with the number 8 on his car, a fairly lower I rating compared to the rest of the field, but I'm sure the SOF for this field must be massive. When you have, when you're 8 laps into a race in this car and the whole field is pretty much still covered by 50 seconds, I have a feeling you're not exactly driving with any stragglers out there.
In fact, the only driver that we're missing right now is Robin Broomer. And, well, Wickstrom, of course, had his issue, and he's taking repairs. Looks like he's going to try and get back out there. We'll see if he manages to. So only 2 that are not running compared to what we started with on the grid. Down the front stretch, Trangrade pulling away a little bit at 0.6 of a second now. And he's got himself some breathing space. If you're used to modern Formula One, the points don't just go down to 10th for these drivers. It goes down to 25th if you're wondering about where the drivers need to watch out for losing those points in their finishing order.
8th place, starting to get a little bit exciting. Myro Hazaki, Robert Plumley, and Bill Tyler. Remember, Bill Tyler had that off a moment ago, so he's trying to work his way back up from that. A disconnect, rather.
Oh, and a little bit of a defense there down into Honda. Bill Tyler not able to make it past Frasky. Plumley still retaining this 8th place as they come up through Siberia and now up into the S's at the top of the hill here. Right-hander referred to as Hayshed, and then that leads you directly flowing into Lukey Heights. Can't even get to the other side of the track, Miro Haraski. These cars have so little grip, flying so fast through these corners, but down the hill and M to MG, no change of position amongst them this time.
Let's see what they do out on the front straight here. Robert Plumley should definitely have the slipstream on Hazaki. It just is a matter of does he choose to use it or not. As they accelerate their way there, 150 miles an hour as they come out of that final turn. At the line, they're doing 180. And let's see, I'm watching Plumley's top speed. Yeah, he doesn't quite hit 190 into the corner, but definitely carrying a lot of speed for these old machines.
Yeah, it's something I think people often discount, Sam, is that some people consider them slow, but that's just through the corners. And even then, most corners are doing 50 to 60 miles an hour, which is not exactly slow. And the straights, they are just a downright rocket ship.
Well, I mean, they made man go to the moon in the 1960s, so, oh, there we go.
Rossi off. Rossi can lose more positions, but where is his rival? I'm trying to find it, Nolan, and I don't see him right now, but that sends Rossi down into 21st.
Yes, Smith is right ahead of him right there. Yeah, Smith moves up into 20th because he had been in 21st. Yeah, Rossi had just picked up a position a couple moments ago, and now he's lost a bunch again. So, yeah, I mean, there are, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, there are drop weeks in this season. I think we might be seeing one of those right here.
Unfortunately, both of them are out of drops right now, it appears. So they have got to try and finish well, and they are within the points right now. I have to double check and see where they would finish on that, well, how many points they would accrue. Because again, Nolan does need to outscore him just to try and stay eligible for the championship as it sits. I believe he'll need at least 2 points, because I'm not sure what it would be with a tie. And even then, that's expecting a complete win if they do wind up tied coming into the final round. And I don't expect either of them to take an overall win and 50 points in this race. No offense to the drivers.
And where else can you see a racing championship nowadays with a tie heading into... Oh, wait. Here we go. A nice little battle for 16th place here with, well, it looked like a 3-car battle. May only be a 2-car battle if the internet has anything to say about it.
So it looks like Nolan would get 6 points, and it'd be 5 points for Rossi as they sit right now. There you see them on the screen once again, coming through Honda. So only 1 point difference, probably not going to do it. And Smith needs a little more than that. Good news for him. That's Quaylen just in front of him in the 11. Does he have the pace to try and outrun him? And then just in front, they've also got 3 more cars.
So that right-hander is Hayshed?
Yes.
Okay.
I only found that out maybe 1 or 2 years ago. Actually, I was not aware until very late. Ooh, and deep on the brakes, maybe a little too deep there from Rossi, and he's going to have to catch back up after he sends it in deep down into MG.
Now, is it called Hayshed because there's a hay shed there, or did someone called Shed take a sad song and make it better?
We'll have to ask the Peanut Gallery if there's any Aussie viewers that know the story behind that corner name. Please let us know, because I actually don't know the history behind that one. As we jump a little bit back forward here, this is coming in. This is the 27 car that we see of Jeff Saunders trying to give chase on Michael Grissinger. So this is just in front of what we were watching before, down into Honda, and you can see how much the cars are dancing around through Stoner. Another one of those turns that should be flat out in most vehicles, but in these things, it's quite nightmarish.
Speaking of nightmares, we've had the spinner here. Don't tell me that's one of our F2 guys again.
That is... Oh, and he's off again. That's a 28. That is Drew Smith. That is through the southern loop. It's an off-camber corner, so it is tricky to try and find grip in these old machines, and he discovered just how tricky. He is going to fall to 28th position, matching his number for now.
Well, actually, that's where he started, where he's running, his number, and he didn't lose any positions. That's where he was running and where he still is. This is a bit more interesting, though. Here we go. 3 cars, throw a blanket over them, and change for position.
That was Wasco, actually. That was a lapped car. It did catch me out, too. I thought that we had a change for second place. Almost could have offered up something to Asada. Gonna just stay out of the way as Wasco lets both of them through. Tixier's starting to lose out now that they've calmed down a bit. They've got themselves some breathing space between them, those two and the 7 car. And that'll be good news for them. But Asada still about half a second back.
And we're into the second half of a race now. 11 laps left to go of this 23-lap race. And this is kind of typical for Phillip Island, where we end up with these little packs of cars that end up grouped together, and they still have a slipstream and they draft off of one another. So sometimes battles do go down to the closing laps, sometimes even the finish line here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see 1 or 2 of those. So stay tuned. Things could get very interesting in the last couple of moments, although I must admit, I don't think anyone's going to leapfrog Topi at the line.
I think, yeah, they have to hope for a mistake out of him right now because they don't seem to have any sort of pace to try and threaten him. 6th place is starting to look a little bit interesting behind this group, too. This is between Xavier Sanchez and David Prela. Prela up 3 spots, Sanchez up 1, so both having a decent race so far. And the Frenchman just keeping him at bay, but it's only been 0.3 of a second at times. It's gapped up to 4 to 5 tenths for now.
Colton Canova just lost 18th place, and he's having to go defensive here, or he's trying to play defensive going into the first turn. I don't know if it's going to work out for him because this is 19th, 20th and 21st with the pair of Nolan Smith and David Rossi behind him, who have made today's race very entertaining. Normally these are guys we see racing around 10th place. Colton getting his wheels up on the left side curb there, really not getting the exit that he needs, and he's going to have to play defensive once again as Nolan Smith is trying to find a way by him. Going to go around the outside here. Now it turns into the inside for the right-hander. Nolan's going to go by. What about Rossi?
Oh, Rossi can't quite complete the same move. He'll have to sit behind, or will he? He's going to outbrake him into Siberia, and he manages to find the grip the long way around. I thought maybe he would go a little too wide. No, it's going to carry on. Too wide now into Hayes Shed as this is difficult. Off the track almost there for Conover, and he finally has to give up the ghost. Oh no! Another mistake from Rossi. He's off into the gravel. He just bounces off the tires, but that might be the battle done between himself and his rival Smith.
Yeah, every time. The last time I saw Rossi made a mistake was when he picked off a position. For some reason, it doesn't look like he's been able to get in the comfort zone and get in a good rhythm today. And really, the best thing out of it is the fact that all of these championship contenders are having bad races too.
Absolutely. We had a successful defense for 8th place between Plumley and Hraski. And behind them, you can see a battle as well. That is between Olsen and Michaela. And just in front, now an attempt from Bill Tyler on Hraski. Hraski has gone from attack to defense. Into Siberia, chops down to the apex and denies Bill Tyler.
Well, they string out a little bit now, so for 5 seconds I feel comfortable that I'm not going to jinx it and say that this is one of the cleanest races we've had so far this season, which is also bad news for the F2 guys racing around 20th place. But as we watch these 5 running nose to tail, I wonder how badly I've just jinxed it. They get through the bottom of a hill cleanly, but now things I think are about to get very interesting on the run down to the first corner.
Indeed, and I love seeing some of the drivers really dig into the history of this era of racing. Bill Tyler, just noticed, I believe, is sporting the historic U.S. colors. They used to do colors according to nation, and Hraski was slow off of Swan. Tyler's going to have the advantage, and down into Dewan, he is through into 9th place.
And they all get through. Oh, here we go, a poke down the inside from Michaela, but he hold station. Again, all of these are good overtaking opportunities. It's one of the good things about this track.
Yeah, I love seeing events come here, series come here, and drivers try and find ways around. A little bit too deep for Haraski, and thankfully Miko in the 12 was heads up. He gave him space. He could have easily ran right into him, but he's going to try and get by through the inside of Siberia. Now it's a drag race off the corner. A little bit of wheel spin from Miko denies him.
Yes, a great battle going on here. We're at 8 laps left to go, coming to 7 laps left to go. Looking down the time and the score in first place, of course, is decided. Second through fourth are fairly close. They're not in the battle right now, but that could change. Fifth place is all on his own sim. That's John Olsen. He got that right at the start and has pretty much been there since. 6th and 7th are nose to tail, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then, of course, we have this.
Exactly. Coming on to the front stretch once again. Anybody going to be able to get a decent run? I'm not seeing much of an advantage, although Michaela has got the slipstream. Could he pull him in enough? I don't think so. Haraski even staying a bit defensive just to scare him off. Or maybe it'll open the door down into the southern loop. No, he swings back across and won't give him the chance. I mentioned the nation's colors that drivers and teams used to put on the cars. For a while, it was a bit of a fun thing that we had in this series. One of the drivers that ran nation's color that we don't see very often, I'm trying to remember his name, but apparently Egypt's was a sort of pinkish violet color. And we had a driver who wasn't from Egypt, mind you, but he liked it so much, he just kept running that color, and it's very easy to spot. And there was actually a driver in F1 history who hailed from Egypt, who ran it at least once in those colors. So it did fit the history of these of F1.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about my favourite colour, bright orange. Number 27 of Jeff Sanders in 17th position is rocking those colours. And right now, he's in a little bit of a sandwich here. He almost got into the back of Michael Grissinger early on in this lap. Fortunately, I emphasise almost. He didn't get into the back, and he still runs in 17th place behind him. But let's also give a shout-out to Gary Quaylin behind him. Yes, he has a number 11th in 18th position, which doesn't sound like a good day. But he is actually our biggest mover today. Started 30th and is up to 18th. Considering we really haven't seen a lot of spills and thrills and attrition today, he's had to do a lot of those the hard way.
Oh, and Bill Tyler's going for another move. Plumley is with him, or is this Plumley on the attack? Plumley is going to be up in 8th as he will win that battle. I'm checking to see. Oh, that was a defense. Excuse me. That was Plumley trying to keep him behind. So Tyler gets another chance to attack here into Honda, and behind him another bit of battling between Haraski and Michaela. Haraski goes wide. Michaela gets the over-under, and he is going to be through, but just barely. A fight back potentially from Miro. No. Beautiful overtake from the 12.
So it looks like the aggression is definitely picking up as we enter the last 6 laps of this race. We haven't really talked about lap traffic a whole lot. These drivers will have to deal with a bit of it. They have kind of caught the tail enders here for the closing moments.
Indeed, and a big thank you to Mick Claridge, who is piped up in the background. It was Michael Morrison who ran those Egypt colors on this car. Ooh, a little bit of a fight here into Honda, but no change for position between those two, although it is still extremely tight. That is between Huff and Lehman for 24th. Last 2 points paying positions. You know, you mentioned that orange as well. I kind of wondered if that was the papaya orange, and that reminded me. I guess we do still have a team that runs the nation's colors. That would be McLaren, because that is New Zealand's colors, is that papaya orange.
Yeah, it's a British team, but I'm never going to complain with a car that rocks an orange paint. Hey,
it was started by a New Zealander, though.
Okay. Well, here we are. Orange car losing the position. Oh, I don't like the looks of that. But that's actually another position for Gary Quaylin there. So he continues his march through the field. Plus 13.
Ah, great job from him.
Oh,
and off the course we go in the southern loop. That is Jeff Saunders, who also hails from the UK and I. So I guess, well, he is matching their British, something British, running the New Zealand colors, as he's going to find his way eventually back to the track, falling to 23rd because of that. And another fastest lap from Topi Kortaniemi. Man, he is just blasting this field. It is 7.5 seconds to the nearest cars. We watch the number 9 of Prela trying to hold off Sanchez.
Yeah, got a couple of great battles still, obviously, as you mentioned, this one that has been going on for 6th place. Really haven't mentioned Prela a whole lot. Oh, 8th is getting dicey. Plumley almost put Bill Tyler in the wall. They're going side by side into the first corner. Tyler trying to go around the outside. Here we go. We finally pick it up. That's Plumley in the grey on the left-hand side of your screen. Tyler on the near side of your screen, making the position stick temporarily. Oh, Plumley almost gets rear-ended by Michaela coming through in that green and white number 12 machine. So Plumley down 2, but it's not over yet. He has the inside line. He's going to throw it around the wide, the left-hander here. Let's see if Plumley can try and get the position in front of him back. Well, no, that looks like history right now. He has to go on the defensive. So Tyler is up into 8th place, but the battle for 9th continues with Plumley, Michaela, Hazaki, and Olsen.
Yeah, things getting a little bit spicy out there. Also, don't need to go to it, but I can give an update on Sebastian Tixier. He had an off in the southern loop, and he has fallen back by a decent margin from the battle for 2nd, which is really spread apart. Now, this is where the fun is at currently, coming through Lukey Heights, down into MG, with Tyler leading Plumley, Michaela, Haraski, and Olsen.
Now, things calm down temporarily as they go into acceleration. It calms down from our perspective, from the driver's cockpit, obviously. They're all trying to make sure they hit the gas pedal just at the right moment so they get a nice little run onto the front straight. Doesn't look like anyone is, though. Things actually break a little bit apart as they come across the line. 3 laps left to go. 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th all up for grabs here. Maybe 8th still if they can run down Bill Tyler. But we move a little bit further up the order.
Tyler is basically on a recovery. Whoa, and we got somebody off course by them.
Drew Smith, it's a lapped car, the number 28. Oh, he's in 29th now. That's disappointing.
As into Honda things continue now, and there's an attack from...
That's a leader. That's David Presley.
Prela, yeah, Prela goes off. And he is now going to be caught up by them. So Sanchez will be able to overtake him. And he is going to have a whole lot of cars, as I think we had an incident between Quaylen and Grissinger. It's all kicking off here in the final laps. Drivers maybe getting a little bit anxious out there.
It's Colin Prela all the way until 3 laps to go. Oh, we're talking about things getting a little bit interesting here. This is a nice little crossover move happening at the top of a hill.
Hold it! He does! Oh, wow, what a catch by Plumley, and a sneak through by Haraski down through MG. I thought for sure we were going to see a wreck. Great job by Robert to keep that from going worse, but unfortunately he does lose positions.
Yeah, and unfortunately for us, it kind of breaks a massive pack up, although we still have a couple of nice little 2-car battles. Only 2 laps left to go now, so there's really no time to catch your breath. Got to get right back to work here.
Side by side into doing as Plumley sees yet another position slip through his fingers. Laust Olsen dives through, still on the outside, maybe a little too far outside. He gets very dirty out there, and he's going to give the spot back. Robert Plumley gets back into P11 just like that.
Yeah, so top 6 positions are pretty much sorted right now. 7th and 8th still up for grabs. Oh, is that a lap car off there? Yeah, I think it was.
No, that's Michaela.
Oh dear, yeah.
That's many positions down. Olsen goes by, Murakami goes by, Miko falls to 13th through that mistake. This is, I said this is a tough one with all different types of corners. It seems like many drivers discovering just how tough.
Yeah, and you called it right. That was a mistake. No contact. Did that on his own. Final lap at the top of the screen. Obviously not for the car. Oh, Nolan Smith. What's going on there? his name just disappeared on timing and scoring.
He goes off again, another self-made error. The 32 slides a little too wide off of Honda, and honestly, Jorge Nieva almost followed him off the circuit. I don't know if we really need a replay of it, but...
a 17-mile-an-hour northwesterly wind.
Oh.
I wonder if that could be having a bit of an impact.
Yeah, that could definitely throw you off. They're not super aero-dependent cars, but that's not uncommon for this track. It is right by the ocean, so easily sees big gusts come through. As up at the top of the field, Topi Kortaniemi has just a couple corners left to go. Haven't shown him a whole lot today, and I'm not sure that he minds all that much. Nice calm race to rack up another victory here today by a whopping 7 seconds over Ove Trangrade. He's already wrapped up the championship, and the number one is going to represent that number well as the Finn takes a win down in Australia here today.
It looks like Ove Trangrade is going to get second place ahead of Togo Hizada in third. The first battle we really still have remaining is that one for 7th place between David Prela and Bill Tyler, and here they come down to the bottom of the hill now. Prela taking the defensive line down the inside. As long as you get a good exit, that defensive line really doesn't hurt you too much. You can still get through that turn quite well. It's not exactly a momentum corner, but all this is definitely momentum. He wants to try and carry his speed, and I think he's done a good enough job where Bill Tyler is going to have to settle for 8th.
And disappointment for Robert Plumley. Just on the last couple corners through MG, he got overtaken by Laust Olsen. Had to settle for outside the top 10. And let's see, anybody else coming to
Nolan
the line?
Smith.
Gonna be close. Yeah.
So this is a 3-car battle, I believe. No, 2-car, and Canova off. That's going to give Nolan Smith 16th.
All right, so Nolan through, but where did his rival finish? Rossi, 2 positions behind him, I do believe. 16th is 10 points, and 18th is 8 points. So yes, that will keep hopes alive, but just barely. And the last of them come across with 22 drivers on the lead lap. That's going to send us to a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing. All from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Phillip Island. We just watched round 11 here in the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legend Series, and Topi Kortaniemi didn't really make much of a race out of it. He put it on pole, scampered away, and nobody was able to challenge the Finn as he finished about 7 seconds ahead of Ove Trangrade, who now takes that second place away in the F1 championship points. So nice job to him to be able to keep that one alive as well. Over Togo Hizada, who finished directly behind him. Sebastian Tixier finished in P4. Could not hang with the pair of them. It was John Olsen in 5th with Xavier Sanchez in P6, exactly where he started. Prela went from 9th to 7th as Bill Tyler went backwards down to 8th. Unfortunately, Karaski finished 9th, and Laust Olsen rounds out your top 10.
Robert Plumley comes home in a respectable 11th place finish ahead of Chris Murakami, who finished 12th after starting 19th. Michael Michaela, boy, was right in the thick of the action today. He comes home with a 13th place finish ahead of Hideki Koivisto. Jorge Nieva finishes in 15th place ahead of Nolan Smith, Colton Canova in 17th and David Rossi in 18th after all their battling. Andres Bruno, we didn't really mention him, but let's give him a shout out, plus 12 positions. I think he was a big mover. You might be saying, hey Samuel, what happened to Gary Quaylen? I don't really know, to be honest, but he's all the way down in 27th at the end. So unfortunate, after he'd gained so many positions in the middle of a race, it does look like he ran into trouble at the end there. Michael Grissinger finishes 20th.
Have to double check and see if that was his own error, if he got caught up in something, as Saunders was P21 with Massa, the last one on the lead lap, in 22nd. Randy Huff was P23. It was Lampus in 24th with Andrew Ang 25th, and Drew Smith in 26th. Last one lap down, as you mentioned. Quaylen looks like he didn't even finish. I see him.
I'll tell you what happened, Joe. He started having connection issues and he pulled out of a race to avoid an incident.
Oh, that is a shame. You didn't get to see the checkered flag then. Oh, that's very kind of him, regardless, as Lehman, looks like Owasco, Maudsley, Wickstrom, and Broomer were all DNFs as well here today. Waiting to see if we get anybody showing up for some post-race interviews. And, man, that wind just played some serious havoc with our drivers out there, Sam. I was so concerned with the temperature, I didn't check that wind. And hopefully the drivers did check the wind, and that kept most of them safe, but some did not seem to account well for it.
Yeah, well, we got Topi Kortanemi here. Let's find out how windy it was from him.
Yep, looks like our winner is ready to talk to us. Topi, congratulations on another victory, and it looks like that was your 4th win of the season, but we were kind of taken aback at how windy it was. Could you feel that inside the car? Were the gusts kind of chucking it around a little bit?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. But we think in this season we had a good tailwind for the turn 1. So, I mean, if we would have a headwind, maybe it would have maybe we would have a different braking zone from T1. But as far as I know, we still had the tailwind today, so it didn't cause any issues.
Oh, glad to hear. Guess it was just down to drivers not anticipating how tough this track is in this car. You're coming on strong now. You went from most of the season with only 2 wins, and now you clinched the championship with the win at Long Beach. You're extending that gap at Phillip Island. You just going to stomp on everybody for the last 3?
I don't know. Just practicing for Le Mans when like Mick and Michelle are going to race, and I hope maybe some guys from the earlier in the season, like David Gaspers or who was the Black Stripe at Red Bull Ring. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was. I think that was. I'm losing his name now as well. I'm trying to remember. It was on the tip of my tongue. I'm going to go back and double check on that in a second. But regardless, you've been showing some incredible form. You mentioned Le Mans up next. Do you think you actually could break away, get that slipstream broken? Or you, as you said, Mick and Michelle are going to be showing up. It's going to be hard to try and get enough pace to outrun them.
Yeah, with these new tires, the pace difference might be at Le Mans, it might be like half a second tops, and that's something you gain on the slipstream easily. Even with the new physics, with a less pronounced slipstream, it still evens out the field.
Well, that's good news for us. It'd certainly be frightening for you guys. Again, congratulations. Anybody you want to give a shout out to while we got you for today's win?
I don't know, you guys and the whole Lotus 49 community. We've had some new drivers, and I hope they will stay and race with us.
I hope so as well. Good. Always good to see fresh faces out here and keeping the Grid size is healthy, much more healthy than when I was racing many years ago. I remember when 9 was our biggest field, and that was our winner, Topi Kortaniemi, who won today from 32 cars starting out there. As we close up, we want to give a big thank you as well to the Lotus 49 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But we also want to thank the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for great work. And thanks to the team today, Sam, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. And also check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because as we mentioned, in a week's time, it'll be time for Le Mans. That'll be Saturday, December 4th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. And we heard mention of the Red Bull Ring at the start of the Lotus 49s. Well, it's going to be the penultimate round for the Camel Series here at noon Eastern, so stick around to watch that. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.